So, you saw that Utah's getting a team and thought, you know what, this hockey thing might be interesting. Or you saw the notification and thought, God, he's talking about this again? Yeah. So I know it says introduction in the title, but I'm gonna be frank. If you want a real, actual, in-depth introduction with more detail and stuff, just go subscribe to the Hockey Guy or THG. Um, just subscribe to him anyway if you find this hockey stuff interesting. Generally, one of the best accounts for all the information. If you'd like to get started, I recommend 3 videos: introductions to penalties, explaining the elements of the game, and explaining fighting. There's also a Hockey 101 playlist there. Just go there if you want a real introduction. I'll give you a very simple, quick to the point, and then I'll discuss other things. Um, so, let's get started then. Hockey, split into 3 periods of 20 minutes, usually about a 15-minute intermission between each. So, game roughly lasts, I don't know, 2 hours-ish, give or take. Played 5-on-5, and then a goalie, so 6 on each. Usually split between 3 forwards and 2 defensemen. Forwards typically split between a left winger, center, and a right winger. You don't have to run that specifically, but you should. You might see on a power play they might run 4 forwards and a defenseman, but usually 3 forwards, 2 defensemen, goalie, done. It's as simple as most goals wins by the end of the 3rd period. If there is a tie, we will go to overtime. In the regular season, it'll be a 5-minute 3-on-3 overtime, and if we're still tied after that, we'll go to a shootout, 3 rounds, whoever scores most in those 3. If we need more, we need more. In the playoffs, we just play another period, 20 minutes, keep it going until someone wins. Face-offs. 2 players will square up at one of the face-off circles. There's several around the ice. Ref will drop the puck, and both players will try to win by playing the puck first, usually back and out behind them. Face-off can be reset if the ref feels face-off wasn't done properly, such as for any infraction, if they're not squared up properly, or if they jump before the puck has been dropped. You can be kicked out of the face-off circle. Someone will replace you. After two players have been kicked out, you'll get a delay of game penalty, and with them we carry on. Editing Taryn here because I realized how poorly I explained icing the first time. So let me use a picture. It'll make way more sense this time. So, icing. For example here, Team A and B. B is in the attacking zone shooting on net, so they're on offense. Team A is on defense. Team A decides to dump the puck out of their zone, and it goes over the middle red line and the opponent's red goal line, so the one on the very far left. If Team B gets to that, and no one touches it when it goes all the way down. Important. So it goes over that middle red line and that far goal line with nobody touching it during that time of it going there. If Team B gets that red line, the red goal line first, the play is ice. That means that the play is now blown dead and the face-off goes back to, in this example, back to the attacking zone. When that happens, whatever team iced it cannot change their players. Meanwhile, the other team can. So in our example here, A dumps it all the way down. B gets there first, they ice it. Team A has to keep whatever players they have on the ice. B can change, and now the face-off's going back into the attacking zone, giving B an advantage here. Most of the time, you'll just see this at like the end of a game, where in this example, Team B has pulled the goalie. They're up a man. They're in the attacking zone, trying to get that tying goal. And A is just trying to clear the puck, get as much time out of the zone as possible, to prevent any goal at all. However, if Team A gets to that red goal line first, nothing happens. Play continues as normal. So if whatever team goes to ice it is able to beat the other team first, beat them to that line first, nothing happens and we continue as normal. That can really change the flow because now everybody is in the one zone, but now there's only a few people in the other. If you can get there first and get your other players up, you'll have more control of the zone first. Works out great if you're able to do it. Another note: if you go to dump the puck and you hit it on net, so either it hits the crossbars or it hits the goalie, or the goalie comes out and plays it before it crosses that red line, it's no icing. We just continue as normal. The puck has to go over that middle red line and the opponent's red goal line for it to count. You might see a referee blow off icing he'll signal no icing. Usually that's just the puck's coming in too slow, enough players are over there, it's not icing, keep playing. You can't claim that's icing according to the referee in that case. So this made way more sense than the first time. I realized after I recorded it that it made no sense the way I did it the first time. So there you go. That's usually one of the more bigger things that people find confusing. Even I had to look it up a few times just to make sure I got it correct. But there you go. Back to your regularly scheduled program.
Penalties. If your team took a penalty, you will be down that player for the duration of the penalty. Typically 2 minutes, can be up to 5, and 5 and a 10. So most of the time, 2 minutes, simple as that. If your team took the penalty, you are now on the penalty kill. If your team didn't, you are now on the power play. There is no icing during a penalty. So what you'll typically see is team on the power play will try and score with their man advantage, and if the other team gets it, they'll just dump it all the way down, get it out, kill as much time off that power play as possible. If you are to score on a power play, penalty's done, and we're back to 5-on-5, unless it is a 5-minute major in which you are on the power play for that entire 5 minutes. So, but usually the 5-minute infractions are more major things. You don't see them there. You don't see them very often, but avoid penalties at all costs. Most of the time, it's simple things. Don't slash anybody. Don't trip anybody. Refer back to that video for any questions. Offsides. When entering the opponent's zone, you'll see the blue line. The puck must cross that line before any player of the attacking team can. So puck has to come in, then everybody can come in. You might see sometimes players are at the blue line and then someone's coming up the ice with the puck. They'll just stay there, they'll wait till the puck gets in, and then everybody will enter. If the team enters before and the puck's still out here, it's offsides, but nothing happens yet. Just get out of the zone and you're good. If you're in the zone when the puck enters, then it's offsides, plays blown dead, face-off's done. Alright, so now that you got a very simple, really that's all you need to know. Like, in fairness, looking over what I have here, yeah, you got all the knowledge. Penalties are pretty self-explanatory, all things considered. And those are really the only big rules and things that people are really ever confused about. So honestly, you're good with what you got there. Hockey's a very simple sport when you break it down. It really is. What isn't simple is some of the other things, such as slang. We're weird. There's a lot of weird things. I'm just going to rattle off a bunch of these. Take notes if you want. Apples are assists. Apparently Genos are goals. Never heard someone call a goal a Geno, so you can just leave that one off. Top shelf, goal scored in the top part of the net. Bar down, hits top bar, down and in. Hits the iron, hits the post. Someone has lettuce or flow, great hair. Chirps, they're insults, trash talk. See example 1.
How many times are you going to get run over, Willie? Nice penalty, Willie, attaboy!
And see example 2.
Fucking slash me again, you little fucking shit. I'll fucking fuck you up.
I love that one. That's my favorite. Let's see. A barn burner is a high-scoring game. You may hear the puck referred to as a biscuit. If something is a beauty, or it's filthy, it's just something that's nice. A celly is a celebration. Dangle is stick handling. If a goalie is described as being Swiss cheese, or he couldn't even stop a beach ball, he's having a bad game and he's letting everything in. He's letting easy goals he should have been stopping in. Simple as that. You may hear jerseys referred to as sweaters. In the grand scheme of things, it doesn't matter. You can call them jerseys, you can call them sweaters. If we're getting down to the technical part of it, when hockey was first started, they wore wool sweaters, ergo that's where the name came from, so people might go, well, this isn't a sweater because it's a jersey and it's different. No one cares. Call it what you want. A yard sale, so if there's a big fight and there's just gear everywhere on the ice. An arena may be referred to as a barn. Hat trick, 3 goals in the game. You've heard of that one before. A Gordie Howe hat trick is a goal, assist, and a fight all in the same game. Why is it called a Gordie Howe hat trick? Couldn't tell you off the top of my head. It's not because of Gordie Howe. I know that. So, not a clue. If a game's getting chippy, it's getting very physical between both teams. Mitts are gloves. If you drop the gloves, drop the mitts, it's a fight. dump and chase or pucks in deep is just a style where you get the puck over the blue line, you dump it around the net, and hopefully you have another player coming up to retrieve it, so you can get the puck as deep in the zone as possible and still have control of it. An enforcer or a goon is just team's fighter or their big hitter, usually a fourth liner to keep out except when needed. If people are chanting to warm up the bus, means the team you've lost, and you should just get ready to leave because it's over already. Coast to coast is when you take the puck from behind your own goal, take it all the way up to the other end, and typically you score.
Puck escapes and it's McKinnon on it. He's on his horse, powering through the speed burst. One stick handling. Oh my goodness!
Like that. It's just, usually it's not that fast. But it's cool when it is. If you cough up the puck, you lose possession. 5-hole is the area between, if a goalie's standing up, it's the area between his pads in the middle, that triangle. A garbage goal is just a bad goal, but it still counts. It might be that it barely squeaked in, or it was just everybody's in front of the net and it barely got tapped in or something. Regardless, it still counts, and that's what's important. If you see a defenseman or somebody called a pylon or a traffic cone, they're just standing around. You could just put a cone out there and nothing would change. If a goalie is standing on his head, he's saving the whole game for the other team. He's making incredible saves, he's keeping him in it. The ref may be referred to as stripes. To wheel is to skate. If you have good wheels, you skate good and you skate fast. A scrum is a fight. If you hear somebody referred to as having a good 200-foot game, they play both sides of the ice well. They play good offense, play good defense, they back check, they forecheck, just good all-around player on the ice. And if the boys are buzzing, team's playing well. Alright, getting into some other miscellaneous things. A lot of players have nicknames. Most of them aren't that crazy, honestly. Like, for example, Joe, Jumbo Joe Thornton, Marc-Andre, Flower, Fleury, Evgeny, Gino, Malkin, Chris, Tanger, Letang, Daniel, Alfie, Alfredson, Colby, Army, Armstrong. You're noticing a pattern here. On the simple ones, you just take a little bit of the last name and call it a good day. Dustin, Big Buff, Buffuglen, Zdeno, Big Z, Chara, Jerome, Iggy, Aginla, Phil the Thrill, Kessel, Olaf, Oli the Goalie, Kolzig, Roberto, Bobby Lou, Luongo, John, Beezer, Van Beesbrook, Kevin, Weeksy, Weeks, and Steve, Stevie Y, Iserman. On the other hand, there are some interesting nicknames, although some people get both. For example, Wayne Gretzky may be referred to as the Great One, or you might just hear him referred to as Gretz. Same thing with Crosby, Sidney, Sid the Kid, Crosby, or more commonly now just Sid. Same thing with Alex Ovechkin, may be referred to as the Great Eight, or just Ovi, or the Russian Machine, because the Russian Machine never breaks. Mark the Moose Messier, or just Mess. And then some people get two, if you're Mario Lemieux, because you're cool like that. You may hear him referred to as Super Mario, or Le Magnifique, or the Magnificent One. Getting into other more kind of unique ones, Gordy, Mr. Hockey Howe, Pavel, Magic Man Datsuk, Mark Edward, Pickles Vlasic, Brad the Rat Marchand, Dominic the Dominator Hasek, Curtis Cujo Joseph, Nikolai the Bulin Wall Hobby Bulin, Henrik the King Lundquist, Felix the Cat Potvin, Ed Eddie the Eagle Belfour, Derek the Boogeyman Beauregard, Dave the Hammer Schultz, Bobby the Golden Jet Hole, Pavel the Russian Rocket Bure, Timu the Finnish Flash Solani, Maurice the Rocket Richard, Paul Biznasty Bizanet, Ryan Whitdog Whitney, and Jordan the Tutu Train Tutu. So, it's a mix between kind of more interesting names and more just typically. Most of the time you just take the last name and cut a little bit off, and it's very simple. Let's see. Most all hockey players have bland personalities. Everybody's the same. You'd think as a sport as, physical and crazy as this, everybody kind of have their own personality. No, everybody's bland. It's a cliche at this point.
Listen, I mean,
Yeah, getting that first goal is key. I mean, it's a big 2 points for us, and we'll take it. It's a big win.
What are you talking about?
Because of money reasons, the NHL has moved to digital board ads for broadcasts, which means instead of seeing the advertisements you typically see, they're digital and they can change. And these have never broken. Everybody loves them. Probably. No one loves them. In that same vein, hope you like gambling. There's a lot of gambling ads. Every player, every coach, every fan, everybody is superstitious. And you might think, oh, it's just like any other sport. No. Everybody is crazy superstitious in hockey. It's just how it is. Everybody has their own ideas, their own kind of superstitions with them, and they're all weird, but everybody has them, so it's normal here. There's no individual efforts in hockey. Everything is a we thing. It's a team-first sport. There is no individual efforts here. Retired numbers, pretty self-explanatory. One of the highest honors you can garner. Having your number retired to the banners. Nobody can pick it forever. The only, not exception to the rule, but Wayne Gretzky, 99. No one can be 99, league-wide. And regardless of where you're playing, what kind of league you're playing in, no matter how high or low, you should not be 99. It's that simple. That's Gretzky's number. There are other numbers in that same vein. 66 for Lemieux, off the top of my head. But Gretzky is the main one that is, not that you cannot be that number, but you shouldn't. Well, in the NHL you can't, but you know what I mean. You shouldn't be 99. It's that simple. A few websites and resources that, might be helpful to you. I'm not sure what you're going to need, but could be helpful. Things I use all the time. Puckpedia would have recommended you cap-friendly, but the Capitals bought that and shut it down. So Puckpedia it is. That's kind of your main website for contracts. Rosters are on there, what draft picks you have, how much cap space you have. It's a really interesting website. Actually, it really is. HockeyDB, stats. Straight stats. Very useful for seeing kind of where a player played and how they did. Variety of stats. Highly recommend them. Elite Prospects is more for player info and scouting reports. It has kind of similar things to DB, but in way more detail. But for the most part, unless you're really looking into a player, DB works fine. But if you do need to know kind of a player's game and things like that, Elite Prospects is where you want to look. Hockey Reference, same idea, has some player information, but they're more history and game stats. You can look up any game that's ever happened. They'll give you the box score sheet, all the information from it, every player's stats. Very informational, very helpful. Daily Faceoff has, a news site. Various Instagram accounts you can follow as well. But Daily Faceoff also has the line combinations, which is very useful if you need to know where a player is playing. They might change, but for the most part, you can get a general idea of who's, on what line and who's playing with who. It's not exclusive to hockey, but sportslogos.com has every, league ever's logo. And you can find every primary, every shoulder patch, every special event logo. It's really interesting, if you just want to look through it, but if you need it for pictures or displays or anything like that, great resource. In a similar vein, the unofficial jersey database, this is just for hockey. Every primary, every secondary, every third, every event, split between the years they were worn, just a great resource to use.